James pointed out, we have a number of sponsors for the weekend. And one of the first sponsors to come on board was Technology One. So we thought it would be a really good idea to have them as our first speakers. And also, so we've got Matt. I'm going to give it a stab at your last name. Deshon? Yes? Deshon? Yeah? Yes! So Matt's actually going to come up here, and what he's going to talk about is actually going to embody and highlight all the things that we're trying to do over this conference, which is about taking the technology skills that you learn at uni and putting them into today's industry. So how what you do at uni actually makes sense and what you can do with it in the workplace. A lot of people don't see the connection between what you're doing at uni and what you're doing in the industry. So Matt, take it away on cloud product ownership and evangelization. Let's do it.
All right, thanks, Michelle. Okay, so I'm the R&D evangelist for Technology One, and I've been with Tech One for a while. I was a UQ student and graduate a very long time ago. I did a combined degree. I studied science and law. I was the second graduate out of UQ with that combined degree. I worked for a law firm for a grand total of 18 months, and I hated every single second of it. Everyone said, oh, go into the law, you'll make heaps of money, you'll have a great career. Nah. So I took the other path, which was to focus on the computer science side rather than the law side. And I started working here at UQ. I worked at QUT for a while, got a job with Technology One. And I've worked all over the world in computer software and IT. Worked in the UK, in Germany, in Malaysia, through the South Pacific. Papua New Guinea is a really interesting place to work. It's either really, really boring or far too exciting. It's a really interesting place. So they're the sort of opportunities that a career in IT gives you. And what I wanted to focus on today was the software piece, because I've made a career out of computer software. Now, I'm not saying that the hardware isn't important. The hardware is absolutely vital. So everyone's got one of these, right? Who remembers the very first iPhone, when Steve Jobs got up and demonstrated that iPhone? It changed the world, didn't it? It was amazing. You could swipe. He had me at swipe, right? That was just off the charts. We've now got the iPhone 6S has just been released, and the best they can come up with is Force Touch. So the hardware for these things is commoditized. They're all the same, basically. Whether you want Android, whether you know, Windows 10 might change things, we'll find out next week, and iOS, it's a commodity. But what that means is, with the platform commoditized, the software can really start to take off. So we're seeing an absolute explosion in software capability based on these mobile platforms. And the first thing I want to talk about is one of those. So we want to talk about the marriage of hardware and software, but more realistically, the magic that software can do on a hardware platform. So the first example I want to talk about is a software program called Skin Vision. Now, this is something that's near and dear to my heart because I grew up in Queensland and I've got nice, fair Irish skin, so I got sunburnt a lot. Skin Vision is a program that works on any mobile device with a camera. And what it does is it takes the camera image and analyzes it based on defined algorithms to determine whether a mole that you're looking at on your skin is potentially cancerous or not. Okay, so there's nothing special in the camera, there's no special hardware. You can run it on your iPhone or your Android phone, it's not a problem. It's the software that does the analysis, right? Now that's pretty good, but what it also does is you can take that, and if it says, look, there's a 90% chance that this might be a melanoma, you can actually send it off, send that image off, together with your history, to a real dermatologist online, and you can pay a pay-per-use fee to have a real live person analyze those images as well. So it gives you the next level, right? And then the other piece that it does is you can potentially share all of that data with all of the other users of Skin Vision worldwide. So you can build up a corpus of data based on the images and whether they turn out to be malignant or not. So you can advance the actual cause of cancer research and skin cancer analysis by participating in this approach. Now, at this stage, it's not as good as going to see a real dermatologist, but it's great for remote areas. It's great if you just want to have a look and see what it does. And it's great if you want to start to build up your own history, especially if you're like me and you've got lots of freckles and so forth, of what's going on with your skin. Now, there are a lot of other programs like this out there. There are remote programs that are specifically designed for nurses or paramedics in remote areas where they don't have access to a lot of specialist medical staff, where they can use these programs and communicate in real time with medical staff in centres like Brisbane. So these sort of programs are being used by the Royal Flying Doctor Service and by remote communities in Queensland and the Northern Territory in particular to deliver more enhanced medical services out to those areas, all through the software. So the second example is a little bit different. It's a car. So Tesla Motors. Who's heard of Tesla? Pretty much everybody. Right, so we all know Tesla's an electric car. It's zero emissions. It's really, really fast, and I really, really want one. It'd be absolutely cool. They launched last year in Australia. They're based in Sydney at the moment. They're coming up to Brisbane probably next year, they say. And the Tesla Model S is the only car on the planet that features insane mode. Right? It's pretty good. What makes it really special, though, is that the entire car, the entire platform, is driven by software. So it's not like a traditional car where you bolt on a carburetor or a fuel injector module and you bolt on a fuel pump and you bolt in an air conditioner and you've got a radio and so forth. They all come from different manufacturers. They don't talk to each other. This is an entire integrated platform that's run by the software. So if the engineers at Tesla find a way to make the car work better, they find a more efficient algorithm for running the air conditioning that gives you a bit more range out of your batteries. They find a more efficient way of regenerative braking so that it gets more range out of the batteries. It goes a little bit faster. They can actually distribute that improvement to all of the Tesla users worldwide via an overnight software update. So you wake up in the morning, your platform has been upgraded, and you automatically have the benefit of that change and that improvement. Contrast that with the traditional car industry, which is, oh, you want Bluetooth? You better go and buy the next model, which comes out next month, and it's going to cost you another $45,000. So Tesla is providing an upgradable, continuously upgradable platform through software for a car. It's pretty cool. So let's just dig into Tesla as an organization for a bit and talk about the CEO of Tesla, a guy called Elon Musk. Okay, now this guy is just changing the world. Everything he touches is huge, right? He made his money through PayPal. He is a genuine rocket scientist. He started his career at NASA. He revolutionized the car industry with Tesla. He's completely disrupting the space industry with SpaceX, and he's going to send people to Mars. He's also disrupting the power industry by building the Gigafactory for economies of scale in battery manufacture, and the Powerwall, so that people can have batteries at home to store energy, and they don't necessarily have to draw that energy from the power grid. Okay, and Australia is actually the first country in which the Powerwall is available for purchase. So, you know, he's doing pretty good stuff. And, you know, he comes out and you know, is interviewed and is this amazing character, to the extent that he was actually used as the model for Tony Stark in the Iron Man films. So Jon Favreau and Robert Downey Jr. went to visit this guy because they figured he was the closest to the real-life example for Tony Stark. That's pretty cool. You look at this, though, and you go, that's fantastic. Yeah, this guy is an amazing entrepreneur. He's completely focused. He's a billionaire. How do I do that? You know, what's happened with this bloke? What's going on? Nobody in this sort of industry, in this sort of situation, ever does it on their own. There is always a team. Doesn't matter who it is. It can be Mark Zuckerberg. It can be Steve Jobs. It can be Elon Musk. Doesn't matter. There is always a team behind the guy out the front or the girl out the front, right? So the team is the critical part. Now, my hat goes off to entrepreneurs like Elon Musk who can do that, who can take the huge risk, who've got the big idea, who can see it through, who've got that single-minded focus. That's not my personality type, and I know a lot of other people in the industry, it's not their personality type either. You know, I prefer being part of a team. So the team players are the people who actually get the stuff done. And you don't have to risk everything and be the person out the front to have a really fulfilling career in IT and also to make a difference in the world. Okay, so everything we do as a software engineering company is done in small teams. Yeah, we break all of our software programs down into small team groups. So all the project work that you do at uni in your small teams is actually preparing you for the industry. Amazon Web Services. Who's heard of Amazon? Yeah, they run over 1% of the internet. They're a pretty big company. They talk about 2 pizza teams. If a team is so large that it can't be fed by 2 pizzas, then it's too large and you should break it up. Okay, that's their rule. So that's the size of team that they talk about for all of their software engineering work. Now, I'm a pretty big guy, so I'd be part of a pretty small team at Amazon. But that's the sort of size team we talk about, you know, 3 to 5, maybe 6 people, all with defined roles, and all having an entrepreneurial focus and a creative focus. So if you go into a career in one of these organizations, you're not necessarily relegated to a cubicle somewhere where you never see the light of day, no one knows what you do, and everyone forgets about you. It's just not the way it works, right? You're part of a small team. You deliver as if you were a big entrepreneur like this, but you do it within the ambit of a larger organization. Okay, so it gives you a great deal of security, right? You have job security, a real job, but it also means you're free to be creative and to exercise that entrepreneurial spirit. And it's something that we really encourage at Tech One, and I know that a lot of other organizations do too. All right, so I'd like to talk a little bit about what we actually do at Tech One, and in the context of one of our customers. So, you know, the title of this talk is Making a Difference Through Software. Having a career is great, but I know a lot of people, myself included, actually want to feel like we're making a difference, like we're making people's lives better. We're actually improving the world through what we do for our jobs. Okay, and it's by having that connection that you can generally find a job you love. And that's a really important thing, finding something you love to do. So the Children's Medical Research Institute is a customer of ours at Tech One, have been for a while, and they use our software to run their Genes for Genes campaign. So you've probably all participated in Genes for Genes over the years. I know it's a big thing in schools, it's a big thing at universities. You wear your jeans, you make a donation and so forth. The software that ran that campaign this year, which has just finished about 6 weeks ago, was actually written by a team at Tech One of, I think it was 6 people, maybe it was 6, wasn't it, Joel? Yeah, 6 people, and a couple of those were graduates. They were people who'd literally come straight out of uni and gone into that team. So this is a sort of opportunity that's available to you to go into an industry where you can start to make a difference straight away. Yeah, and you build a career and you can do that pretty much anywhere in the world. So I want to show you just a little video from CMRI. Let me get the right one up.
For more than 50 years, the Children's Medical Research Institute has been making sure babies are born healthy and stay healthy. That's why families across Australia say thank you to CMRI.
They created Australia's first research unit for newborns, reducing the infant mortality rate for premature babies like Erin by over 60% in the last 30 years.
Without CMRI, I wouldn't be here today.
They pioneered techniques to help children undergo life-saving microsurgery.
CMRI introduced vaccines to safeguard babies against birth defects and childhood diseases like rubella.
We were Australia's first paediatric medical research facility. Thanks to discoveries made here, conditions that used to be fatal can now be treated.
We've always relied on community funding. You might know us from Genes for Genes Day, when on the first Friday in August people wear their genes and raise money to help our scientists continue their life-saving work.
We've achieved many milestones in 50 years,
leading to better understanding and treatments for childhood diseases.
And we continue researching cancer, epilepsy, birth defects and genetic diseases in the hope that we can one day soon prevent them entirely. Because every child deserves a long and healthy life.
CMRI holds the key to saving these precious lives.
We greatly value your support, and every contribution helps to create brighter futures for all our children, those who are born today and those who are yet to come into the world.
All right, pretty cool stuff. And it's very great to be part of an organisation that can help these sort of organisations to achieve their goals. All right, so are there any questions? I think, Michelle, how long have we got for questions? We've got a few minutes? Yeah? Questions, yeah. All of the above. So everything from the website that people can go to make donations and see what the campaign's all about, to then tracking the information afterwards, the individual donors, running the engagements, so all of the different events as part of the campaign, and so forth. So it's, you know, the whole lot, basically. Yeah. Yes. Look into internships, graduate programs, start researching the organisations, public and private, because a lot of public organisations do these sort of programs as well. But looking at a broad range of those things and starting to talk with those organisations. All of them will have people you can talk to, and tomorrow afternoon there's actually a careers fair here. Tech One will be there and various others. You can go and talk to those people about what it's like and finding the right cultural fit, because cultural fit is the most vital thing in those organisations. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Insane mode makes it go really fast. It's 0 to 100 in 3.2 seconds, which is pretty much supercar territory. And that's in a 4-door sedan about the size of a BMW 5 Series.
Yeah, if you guys ever get a chance, do go for a ride in one. They're really, really fun. We got to only 60 Ks and we were still like this. Yeah. In the seats, just, yeah, if you get a chance.
Yeah, and actually, if you go to YouTube, there's a video, if you search for Tesla Insane Mode, there's a video, a guy put a dash cam on his passengers and then took off. And the reactions of the passengers are just not safe for work. It's great. Yes? Yeah.
Do you see this potential? Do you see the area? Sorry. More broadly, I think, do you see the area, looking at security and secure computing being something that would be a useful skill set for?
Absolutely, absolutely. And you talk about over-the-air updates and the potential for issues. Every manufacturer wrestles with that. Pretty much every modern car has a computer in it. They all have bugs to a greater or lesser extent. So the issue is across the industry. The second one is the hackability of that. As far as I'm aware, Tesla has never been hacked by remote control, but a lot of others have. There was a big thing in the news, was about a month ago, that a Chrysler Jeep got hacked and actually got run off the road. So, I think Tesla's probably doing better than most of the others for that sort of, hacker protection. And yeah, up the back. Oh, I wish. I wish. No, no, we develop software that allows organisations to run their businesses. So like CMRI running their campaign. A lot of universities use our software, so for student management, financial management and so forth. So for us, we are in the next 6 to 12 months, let's call it 12 months, we're finalising a completely new version of our entire software suite to be an HTML5 adaptive platform for mobile devices. So going from the old school beige boxes that people have to have on their desks to a mobile workforce where you can do everything you need to do for your job, regardless of what it is, on a phone or a tablet. So freeing people from their desks, freeing people from devices and cables and allowing them to participate properly in a cloud-first, mobile-first world. Yes? Sorry? Not at this stage. We do have components of our system which are offline, and they connect opportunistically to refresh. But at this stage, our system is fully online. We don't develop individual apps for devices. We do web apps only. We tried that. We tried developing apps, and we quickly found out that supportability was a nightmare. You know, the different versions of Android, different types of hardware, Windows, iOS, and so forth. It was just a nightmare, so we abandoned that quite early on. Yes? Look, it's a really good question, and you know the whole big data analytics and so forth. The issue with big data is how do you take big data and make it small data that you can actually make sense of and that's useful to you? So how do you filter the trash and get good stuff? So what we do is we tend to be the recipient. We don't tend to gather big data as part of our software. We're the recipient after that analytics has occurred. Yeah, so we work with analytics programs like Hadoop or Elastic MapReduce and things like that. And we take the output from those. Any other questions? Yeah, go, let's go. At this stage, we are a Microsoft house, so we use Visual Studio. Everything we're writing is in C#, HTML5 and JavaScript front end. So that's our technology platform. Every 7 years or so, we refresh our technology. So the last iteration of our software was all VB.NET. It was a client-server application. That was appropriate. We're now moving into a web server environment, and C# is an appropriate language for that. What we're looking at very closely for our next iteration, which we're starting to plan now, is much more moving towards open source and getting away from that Microsoft space. So we have to run Windows servers at the moment, Windows web servers to run our software. We're looking into why we can't run that on Linux, why we have to use Oracle or SQL Server as our relational databases. So we're doing a lot of research into using Progress rather than the commercial ones. And the other big area that we're investigating, which I think will sit alongside the relational databases, is NoSQL databases. There are a lot of areas in our solution, for example, audit trails and tracking and so forth, which are very appropriate for a NoSQL database. All right, any other questions? Michelle, do you have any questions? Great question. And I want to take that in two parts. So the first part is, how do you work out how to have a great career? And it's the intersection of three things. So imagine a Venn diagram. We've all had far too much to do with Venn diagrams, I'm sure. So work out what it is that you love to do. Become really good at it, and work out how to make money from it. And if you're at the intersection of those three sets, then you're going to have an awesome career. Okay, so those are the big three things. Now, getting down to the more tactical level of internships and so forth, talk to the organisations. We are about to put on 17 graduates and interns here in Brisbane. They start on Tuesday in the office. I've had to move desks as a result. And we are simply accelerating that program. So it's, at the moment, we're a Brisbane-based company, so our R&D centre is based here in Brisbane. We do have an R&D centre in Perth. So is anyone here from WA? You made the long flight across, well done. All right, okay. We do have an R&D centre in Perth, and we're going to start a graduate recruitment program in Perth as well to support that R&D centre. And we're about, unofficially, you never heard this, we're probably going to start doing R&D in the UK as well, so developing a UK-specific R&D branch. We're obviously not the only organisation. I know Red Hat's the other major sponsor here, and they also employ quite a few people in the R&D space. But the big thing is to actually get out and do it. And once you've secured one of those positions, right, once you've put yourself out there, you've applied, you've gone through interviews and so forth, there are a couple of things you can do to make the most of it. One is come with a very positive attitude. Yeah, it can't be, I can't say it often enough. Come in with the attitude of, I want to do stuff. Give me things to do. The more the merrier. Let's get into it, rather than, oh, I'm not sure that I can do any of this. Don't feel that you're not good enough, right? Because you've already passed the test to be good enough. You're good enough just by being there. And the second thing is, and this is a quote actually from the performing arts industry, 90% of the job is just turning up. Okay, but it applies equally to any industry. Be reliable, show up on time, be punctual, yeah? Learn what the dress code is, if there is one. Some places have one, some places don't. I'm wearing the dress code for Tech One for the office, right? So this is what our developers wear day in, day out, jeans and a shirt. So be aware of those things, because those things are all part of the culture of the organisation. And if you find that you see those things and you don't like them, you don't want to wear a polo shirt, then perhaps that organisation isn't for you, because that's a big part of the culture. Okay, so it's not just about you trying to mould yourself into a job so you've got a job. It's about you finding the job that's right for you. Because if you're not a good cultural fit, then you're not necessarily going to be very happy. The organisation probably won't be very happy for you, and it's just going to make everyone depressed. Okay, better to find a different place where you are a good cultural fit. And there's one question which hasn't popped up, and I'm a bit surprised because we do have a few women in the audience, is how about women in IT? And this goes to our graduate and intern program as well. We hire every great female applicant that we can, everyone that we find. We want to have a mix. We want to have people of different styles. We don't just need hardcore coders. We need people who can talk to customers. We need people who can get up on stage and present stuff. We need people who can bring different perspectives. So you need passion. You need to be doing what you love. You need to be really good at it. So your grades matter, yeah, at this stage, right? And then the making money piece is getting that career and getting going. All right, long answer to a simple question. Are there any others? Has that provoked any other questions at all? Yeah. We put our interns through an induction program to begin with. So They learn about our coding standards. They learn about life at Technology One, the Tech One way, and so forth. They learn where the beer is on a Friday afternoon. It's very important because you know, we take our corporate culture and looking after our employees very seriously. So one of the things that we've always had at Tech One, and Tech One used to be based over in Toowong, close to here, is Friday afternoon drinks. So we'd down tools at 4 o'clock, everyone would get together, talk about the week, and that would mean that developers would be talking with salespeople and marketing people and the person who does the books and the person who does the payroll. So the organisation would start to talk together. Our managing director went to visit Atlassian a little while back, probably about 18 months ago, I think, and you know, to see what they were doing, another big software success story in Australia. And he toured the offices and talked with the founders and saw what they were doing. The one thing that he brought back that he said they're doing that we're not and we should is they have beer taps in their lunchroom. So now we've got beer taps in our lunchroom too. It's just an example of how we're always trying to make life better, yeah? Not just for our customers, but also for our staff. So that's the first bit, right? You learn about what it is like to work at Tech One. But then we throw you into teams. So because our teams are small, it's quite easy to introduce a person. They only have to get to know 3 or 4 other people. They can start to work with that team quite quickly. They're not necessarily intimidated by a huge wall of people. And we get them doing productive things. So you guys are all very smart and you're learning the latest and greatest stuff. Contrast that to someone who is maybe 50 years old, who's been working in the IT industry for the last 30 years, and who has a very limited knowledge of the latest and greatest stuff, because they're not exposed to it every single day. So for us as an organisation, what we're really interested in is all of that latest and greatest stuff you can bring in. So when we're designing intern programs and graduate programs, interns a bit more so because it tends to be short term, we're looking at giving you work to do that will let you exercise that body of knowledge and that creativity that you can bring in. So you'll be given real work to do, and it will be real software engineering, real projects and so forth. It may not be things that look like they're part of our core business because we want to keep doing things that are new. You know, we want to try things out. We'll give you research projects that are basically research spikes. They're not necessarily hardcore development that's going to see production. We want to see what a prototype will look like. Okay, so that's the sort of thing that we get interns to do. We really want to tap into that recent training and that knowledge of up-to-the-minute processes. Yeah?
So you mentioned earlier that Technology One is looking to move towards an open source software stack. What do you see as the role of open source software more broadly, and how can students and recent, you know, who are people who are about to graduate looking for a job perhaps engage with the open source community?
A lot of different parts to that. So the open source community is enormously broad and deep. Yeah, there are a lot of different ways you can do it. My brother-in-law is actually German, and he works in Hamburg, and he is an open source. He's made a career in open source. So he works through the Linux stack. He's a contributor to a lot of the Linux branches, and he does contract work. So he contracts to develop software, and he also contributes to the open source branches as part of that work. So you can be part of the open source community without having to do it full time. We've got a lot of staff at Tech One who also contribute to open source projects. So it doesn't, if you want to be part of the open source community, you don't have to be all in. Yeah, you can do other things as well. If you do want to be go all in for it, you look at the organisations that are participating in the open source community, and Red Hat would probably be a pretty good example to talk to there. It's going to be up this afternoon. So yeah, there are a lot of organisations who've made great businesses out of working in the open source community. Yeah. I think it's a twice yearly. Narelle, it's a twice yearly uptake, isn't it, for interns? Okay. So we'll have our HR people at the careers fair tomorrow afternoon. If you have a chat with them, they'll be able to give you all the detailed information of exactly how to go about that. Okay. All right. I think we're done.
So, are we working? Yep. No more questions? All right, well, I'd just like to sum up Matt's talk really quickly. So he spoke really at the start about entrepreneurship, how it's becoming a really big thing in industry, and there's a lot of industries out there doing it now. They're doing things like hackathons, they're doing things like, giving their employees a chance to come to them with ideas, with, no fear of, getting shunned down for an idea. So I think that's a really big key, and I think that's a big thing that's happening in Australia, is entrepreneurship in general, which is why stuff like this is really cool. The other thing you spoke about was culture, and how important culture is to a workplace, and creating the right culture that you want to portray your workplace as. I think that's a really key point. I think the majority of people who either get fired from work or leave work is not because they can't do their job, but it's because they either don't fit the culture or they don't fit the team. So I think that's really key, is understanding that culture. And that's why doing things like internships is really good, because you get an understanding and a feel for the culture before you're actually locked into a place. I think that's really good. You have one more thing you spoke about too. Oh, drinks. Drinks. Friday night drinks. Drinks is definitely part of the culture. So, as Matt said, it's not all about the work. Culture is work as well, but it's about creating the feel around the office that people actually want to come to work. If you can create a good working environment that your employees want to come back to, that's what you want, because you find the best people, the best employees, and you keep them in your business. So, yeah, that was really good. So let's give a round of applause to Matt for his fantastic talk. And before you go anywhere, Matt, we have a lovely box of Lindt chocolates.
Oh, fantastic.
You better share them later, so thank you for your talk. So next...
I hope you have